So I thought we could pick up on the conversation that started during the retreat with this idea that wanting is wanting, it's not getting. And your related teaching from the Zen tradition that ashes are ashes and firewood is firewood, and that each experience is unique. And I wonder if you could say a little bit more about what you mean by wanting is wanting and it's not something after it. What's the significance of that in your mind when people are suffering?
Well, yeah. I mean, suffering is really, I think the basic nature of suffering is that we don't want it to be the way it is.
Right.
We want something to change. Whatever that is, we want to get something, we want to get rid of something, we want to fix something, we want to understand something. So there's this movement of that we want to get from point A to point B being the end of suffering.
Right.
So there's this, so when we're wanting, let's say, to get to point B, we're focused on point B.
Right.
And what we often avoid is the primary resistance called wanting or not wanting. So we're actually in a movement, we're in this pull or push, we're in a force of movement, but excuse me. But what we miss is the primary resistance of wanting, and that's where the doorway opens. So in Zen they say firewood is firewood, ashes are ashes. Firewood does not become ashes. We always think we're going to become liberated. We're going to become free of suffering. And awakening is the realization that our true nature is already free. So, of course we don't want to have pain. We don't want to, I mean, there's a distinction obviously between pain and suffering. But I mean, human experience has pain, obviously.
Yeah.
And the suffering is struggling with it. You know, telling ourselves it should be different, or why is it this way? It's a kind of, I think that what is maybe often misunderstood sometimes is this apparent conflict between the sort of no effort understanding and effort. Like if there is no one, if there is no identity, if we're just this openness, then who makes effort? Or how does one make effort if one isn't identified with being somebody? Yes. The mind tries to figure out lots of things that it really can't, and that's one of them. You know? It's very much a discovery process. So you could talk about the flavor of chocolate. You know, you could maybe give a great description or poetic description of it, but if somebody hasn't tasted it, they're not going to understand chocolate until they've tasted it. And so the taste of the truth, the glimpse of the truth, is the beginning of the path.
So awakening for you is like a reference point.
It's a glimpse. It's a it's that primary stop. It's that moment, or maybe the ultimate moment of discovery, of revelation, or of realization of what we fundamentally are. The mind can't grasp it, but the heart totally understands it. It's the heart of vastness that right now is present. So that it's already understanding. It's not an intellectual understanding. So from that place of peace, or that place of oneness, if you will, then we talk about it, or we describe it, or we point towards it, or whatever. Or nothing, or we just enjoy life, really, as openness. So the wanting is okay. See, we try to get rid of wanting. There's a lot of teaching that says, oh, well, you know, Buddha said that desire is this, you know, grasping is the source of suffering. Well, yeah, that's right. But how then? But then people say, okay, I have to stop wanting. Right. So I'm going to get rid of my car and my apartment and my stuff, and I'm just going to get a loincloth and a bowl and sit out in the corner. But as Jon Bernie pointed out, you can be as attached to the robe and the bowl You could be more attached to the robe and the bowl and the identity of being a seeker or a sadhu or something than somebody who has a Rolls Royce and a home in Pacific Heights. Okay?
So do you,
Unlikely, but possible.
so there's a lot of control that can hide out in kind of trying to manipulate your experience for it to be a certain way when you use practices like that.
We perpetuate an identity, even the identity of a seeker or someone who's spiritual or wanting to be free. And so we often, there's a lot of often negative beliefs about wanting. But wanting isn't the problem. That's not really, it doesn't matter whether there's wanting or not wanting, aversion or desire. It doesn't matter. What matters is being able to see it, being able to fully be open to it, to be the awareness that perceives it. Once that happens, one is not caught in that identity anymore. And that's where the shift can take place into the truth of what we are. And a lot of people call it, there's different names for that. I call it awakening. Some people refer to awakening as the end of suffering. I refer to awakening as the beginning of the true understanding of what we fundamentally are.
Right.
Okay. And then there's stages of.
So awakening for you would be the beginning of the awakening being embodied in the human life.
Because otherwise there's this idea that there's going to be an end called enlightenment. And I think what happens is all those concepts of enlightenment and realization, all those things fall away. All the constructs that the mind has created and has believed in all fall away. And what is really perceived is this mystery that keeps unfolding and we keep discovering this reality.
Do you feel like enlightenment is even that useful of a concept for you at all?
I don't think about it anymore. I mean, it was useful as a
seeker.
16-year-old, when I had as a 20-year-old, it was very important for me. Because that's, So I think that if we can have these concepts, but and they can be useful until they're not needed anymore. Problem is believing them and getting identified with them.
Right. It's hard in traditions when the concept itself is given a place of truth and people don't feel like they can give it up or something like that.
Well, then that's okay. That's where they are. But can they recognize it? How many people can recognize the beliefs that they're holding on to? Right. I mean, it can be very threatening to question one's beliefs. The identity is very threatened by that. But in awareness, as awakened consciousness, there's no threat.
Yeah.
There's no belief being held on to.